We've all seen the pictures. Massive mosaics of rubbish floating in the water, fish killed by discarded netting, and birds building their nests in heaps of trash along the shore. Even more concerning is the fact that these moving pictures only highlight a small part of the issue. About half of all plastic pollution is found beneath the ocean's surface, and a large portion of it is in the form of microplastics, which are so tiny that they might never be fully removed. One strategy is to highlight a familiar element in these pictures of trash in order to break through the vastness of the water pollution problem. One of the greatest contributors of water pollution is single-use plastics. Single-use plastics, such as bottles, are made to be used just once before being thrown away. Nearly half of all plastic pollution is caused by single-use plastics, which also include plastic wrapping for fresh fruit and meats, different from multi-use plastics, which can also contaminate the ocean but tend to accumulate less frequently because of their multi-use nature, is this sort of plastic product. Reusable water bottles, for instance, can contain water without creating the same amount of waste as single-use plastic ones. Although they can be constructed of a variety of materials, including plastic, refillable bottles are more durable than single-use ones and can be recycled when they break or get old. For both types of bottles, how they are discarded determines their ultimate resting place and whether they become pollutants of the ocean. Unlike natural materials, plastics do not decompose quickly. Rather, they disintegrate into countless, tiny, still plastic fragments. When plastics are exposed to water, like in the ocean or a water bottle, or when they are heated, such when lawn furniture is left out in the sun or a plastic food container is microwaved, this process can be accelerated. Plastic products not only produce nanoplastics, but also release somewhat bigger, more noticeable microplastics. Unfortunately, it's getting harder and harder to escape these particles. Commonly ingested plant and animal proteins are tainted with microplastics, according to another recent study. These tiny plastic particles are getting into our bodies more frequently because of their small size, which allows them to build in and move through our surroundings. When we breathe, eat, and drink, we are particularly vulnerable to microplastics and nanoplastics. Tiny plastic particles have been found in people's hearts, bloodstreams, veins, lungs, placentas, feces, testes, semen, breast milk, and brains during the past several years, and more concerning research is now being conducted. Nature's observations of wild animals demonstrate that encounters with plastic particles can be fatal, particularly when those particles are nanoplastics, which are so tiny that they can enter an animal's bloodstream and enter its brain, other organs and tissues, and live cells. Particularly at risk are pregnant women and children. Although the entire spectrum of health impacts caused by nanoplastics and microplastics in our systems is still unknown, what is known by scientists is already quite alarming. It is recognized that microplastics and nanoplastics, like all plastics, can contain any combination of additional compounds. None of the more than 16,000 such compounds included in plastics have been deemed safe. Officially, at least 25% are already categorized as dangerous. Concerning plastic compounds include asbestos, harmful heavy metals like lead and arsenic, and hormone-disrupting and carcinogenic phthalates, PFAS, and bisphenols, among many more. Furthermore, harmful substances that seep into soils, waterways, plants, and living things can be absorbed and accumulated by microplastics. Without a doubt, the world in which we live is thirsty for water. For instance, even though the United States has an excellent supply of water, both locals and tourists continue to use single-use plastic water bottles. Yes, it is advised to keep some on hand in case of emergencies, such natural disasters, but most of the time, people buy throwaway water bottles to consume during their daily lives. Disposable water bottles can be incredibly practical, but they are expensive. Disposable water bottles have an adverse effect on the environment in addition to potentially containing dangerous chemicals like BPA that are bad for your health. To make enough disposable plastic water bottles to satisfy America's yearly demand for bottled water, more than 17 million barrels of oil are needed in the US alone. Disposable water bottles emit pollution, use fossil fuels, and contribute to global warming during their whole life cycle. Every year, 2.5 million tons of carbon dioxide are released into the atmosphere during the water bottling process. Every year, 1.1 million marine animals are killed by the garbage from disposable water bottles that wash into the ocean. Compared to tap water, bottled water undergoes 4 times as many tests for microorganisms and other contaminants. Although plastic was initially discovered over a century ago, it wasn't until the 1950s that it became widely available to the general population. Plastics are not intrinsically harmful to people or the environment, despite being a major contributor to ocean pollution today. Safe food storage has been revolutionized. The growth of clean energy from solar panels and wind turbines has been greatly facilitated, and plastics have saved countless lives in the health sector. However, among the most prevalent items found in marine litter are plastic bottles. How then could such a promising substance become into a representation of environmental degradation by humans? Plastic pollution is an increasing worry, as plastics are a part of our daily life. Smaller particles known as microplastics, which are smaller than sesame seeds and have a length of no more than 5 mm, can be formed when plastics degrade over time. Nanoplastics, which have a size of less than 1 micrometer, are even smaller than microplastics and can also break down into them. These are too small to be seen with the human eye, but they can nevertheless infiltrate bodily tissues and cells. However, these minute plastic particles' possible health impacts are still unclear and unproven. Nanoparticles' tiny size has made them especially difficult to detect and study. What can we do then? We can help you kick the habit of drinking bottled water by stocking your cabinet with stainless steel, 100% BPA-free water bottles that are safer and healthier for you personally, in addition to helping the environment. In order to benefit both the environment and your health, we might make sure that your house is well stocked with reusable stainless steel water bottles. Using a water filter is an additional strategy. To fill your reusable water bottles for the day, you might purchase a water filter to store in your refrigerator and use it each morning. We can also spread the word about this problem. Inform your loved ones about the harm that bottled water is causing to the environment. Encourage your place of employment to outlaw plastic water bottles, and teach your kids that using reusable stainless steel bottles helps the environment. Another strategy is to look for alternatives. Plastic water bottles aren't the only thing harming the environment. Look for cleaning products and soap, among other home things, in packaging that is less harmful to the environment. Recycling ensures that our consumption is not linear, but rather cyclical. Don't forget to recycle plastic bottles after using them. Pick up and recycle any used, empty water bottles you come across on the street or in a park. We can also increase our use of water fountains. Ask your local representative if your county can install more water fountains so people in your community can refill reusable bottles more easily.